So yeah, let's get started on AI. Hi everyone, so today I'm going to talk about AI. So AI is a subject that I am quite passionate about. So I've used AI for a long time and I've been using AI every single day for at least a couple of hours every day. So I believe that makes me well positioned to talk about AI. I don't know how it works, I don't know what it's doing behind the scenes, but I know how to use it, and that's the most important thing. When you hear the word AI, it probably sounds like quite scary. If I didn't know what AI was, then I would think it sounds quite scary as well. AI has the capabilities to make some massive changes in the industry, and I think it's really important to stay ahead of AI and basically just be learning how to use it. So essentially, AI is not as scary as it sounds, but it's really important that you learn about AI and you learn how to use it. It's quite comparable to when computers were invented and when the internet was invented, in that it's going to make some massive changes in the way that we do things and make things a lot more efficient. So essentially, if you don't keep up with AI, it's like the same as, say, in accountants like 100 years ago. They might have been fine for all that time using pen and paper and doing all the calculations in their heads, but then along comes computers and along comes calculators and Excel, where you don't have to do any of the calculations yourself. So somebody that might have been fine for hundreds of years doing accountancy that way, all of a sudden they're in a whole new world where they need to know how to use computers, how to use the internet, how to use calculators. And those who don't, those who stay with pen and paper, they're just not going to survive. That's just how it is, because you've got people working the exact same job or have the exact same company. Essentially, they can do 100 times the amount of work that you can do if you've stuck with pen and paper, when there's a way more efficient way of doing things. So essentially, in my opinion, I feel like that's what it's going to be like with AI, as if you don't keep up and you don't learn how to use AI, then you're just going to be overtaken by people who do. So essentially with AI, there are positives and there are negatives, just like anything else. So the positives would be increased efficiency. So you can do things a lot faster. You can have more confidence in what you're doing. For example, you can get AI to double check things that you're not sure about. You can also use AI to help draft certain documents. You can ask for advice on certain situations. You could even have a situation such as, got one employee who thinks this, I've got another employee who thinks this. Who's the correct one out of the two? It'll map out who it thinks is right and then give you reasons for why they're right and why they're wrong. And you can use AI for so many things, and it just makes things so much more efficient. AI is like having another employee in your business. So for example, if you're doing accountancy and you don't know whether something is going in a certain line or what the tax is on that certain item, instead of researching on Google, you can literally just ask AI, does this look right? You don't even have to paste in all the individual text. You can take a screenshot of whatever's on your screen. So say if you're looking at a spreadsheet and you've got all the different elements of your financial accounts there, then you could literally just say, does the accruals line look right? And AI will be able to see from 200 lines or however many it is. AI will easily be able to see from the image, where's the accruals, how much are the accruals, and then is that correct? It'll work out a calculation. So that's just one example of how it can be used, but it can be used for everything. What are the challenges associated with AI? So you do have increased concerns around security, around fraud. Cybersecurity, of course, is going to be something that people bring up around protecting your data. But if you had never used the internet and you were asked to write a pros and cons list for the internet, you'd probably say the exact same things. You'd probably say, well, people can steal your data, hack you, People can follow you around the internet, take your bank details, increase risk of scams. So essentially, all of the things that I see were cons for having the internet would apply here too. So I know especially a lot of small banks worry about the security side of things. So for example, they might block access for their employees to be able to use ChatGPT. From a security point of view, essentially when you're blocking access to these tools, it's comparable to blocking access to the internet 20 years ago. So you could have said, when the internet first came about, you could have said, oh, we don't trust the internet, there's like people from all around the world and they can scam you and they can take your bank details online, and that would be true, but that's still not a reason that you shouldn't use the internet, because you've got so many advantages that come with using the internet. To not use the internet because of cybersecurity concerns, I believe is comparable to saying that you don't want to use AI. AI is going to revolutionize the whole world. It's going to change the way that we do things in a very significant way. So the reason that I'm talking about AI today is because AI was voted by members as a topic that they wanted to learn the most about. So that means that we've created the module for AI on the Global Banking Hub. That's just been released, so check it out on globalbankinghub.com, and then if you log into your members area, the AI module's there. As you can see here, you log into the Global Banking Hub and then you want to go into your members area. And into your short video courses. And as you can see here, it's been added as an intermediate course. So if you just press start course, then it'll come up. And then here you can see a description of the course. And then when you scroll down, you can see the different chapters. So the reason I've done it this way is I felt it was important to get a holistic view of the whole bank. So no matter what department you're in, it's useful to know how AI is being used in different areas of the bank. So you can see the different chapters are split out according to the category. So to begin with, we've got fundamentals and an overview of financial services and the future of AI with quantum computing. And then on the second chapter, we've got machine learning models for lending, we've got advanced fraud detection with AI, and we've also got how you can use chatbots for customer service. And then chapter 3, we've got a comprehensive guide to regulatory compliance and risk management. And then we've also got stress testing and risk management in banking, and we've got ethics and responsible AI adoption. And then on to chapter 4, we have real-world applications of AI in cash flow forecasting. Then we've got algorithmic trading. Now this was one that I included that might not be directly relevant to your bank or your institution. So the reason I included it is because since we all use the yield curve for pricing our products, I thought it was useful to understand how the price of the yield curve might change based on algorithmic trading and how that's going to shape the yield curve going forward. So I thought it was useful to include, but it's not directly relevant, but I feel like it is still useful to know. And then you also have predictive analysis for financial advice, and then you've got the revolutionizing cybersecurity. So as always, these modules are always an hour or less. So this one's around about an hour. So you can complete it on your lunch break. Say you've got an AI meeting after lunch and you want to understand what people are talking about. You can easily just watch it on your lunch break. So all you do is you click into the module. You just watch the short videos.
Transforming financial services and banking operations.
And then as you complete them, you'll get a tick along the side. So you know how far along you are. And then you've also got the progress bar, so you can see where you're at with your chapters. And you don't have to complete them all in one go, and you can click on certain videos that might be interesting, rather than having to go through the whole thing. And the most important key themes of the module are repeated several times so that it stays in your mind more, and so that if you want to go into just one video, then you're going to have an overview of all the key things that you need to know just from that one video. So then finally what we have here is the course completion. So as always with the modules on the Global Banking Hub, you have the option that you can take a certificate, but you don't have to. So this is an optional certificate. So essentially all you do is click into the course completion, and then you've got the instructions in the video here, which would explain where to email your answers to, which basically I'll just go through and check your answers and make sure that what you've said makes sense. So employers know that these certificates are qualitative and that they're not multiple choice. And I think that's really important because it shows that you really do understand the questions, which means you understand the module. So essentially for you to obtain a certificate for AI in banking from the Global Banking Hub, you have to have been able to answer these 5 questions, and all you'll do is send your answers across to me, and then I'll personally check them all myself and then also give you feedback on your learning. So back to the members area, so you've also got your global banking update report. So this weekly report is updated with your strategic insights every week. So this is put out on a Friday morning, 8 AM for UK time, but it might be slightly different for your own country. So essentially this report, I really love this report because say you've got ALCO or you've got pricing, you've just got some kind of meeting where you want to know what's going on in the world. You don't have to sift through hundreds of articles on Google. You literally have the top news stories that you need to know, and they're all listed out in this article. And not only that, but you've also got strategic recommendations. So it means that you can go into ALCO or you can go into pricing, and you can be raising questions or raising points that people might not have even considered. So for example, you might have an ESG strategy where you might be trying to invest more in green bonds, you want to have more ethical investments, but when you go through this report you might see, oh, there are actually some developments going on with ESG strategies, especially in the US. So you might think, do I have any business in the US? Am I dealing with US businesses? Should we put our ESG commitments on hold? Is the person on the other side of our ESG commitments tied to what's happening in America? So I find that it's really useful to just go through this report, and you can even just use this report in your own ALCO or in your own weekly pricing committees, for example. Yeah, I find this report is super useful for if you just want to have some questions ready to ask in ALCO, or if you just want to have some questions for first line because you're working second line, or maybe you just want to understand what's going on. You just want to understand the conversations that are happening at ALCO already. Maybe people are already talking about these kind of things and everybody's raising good points, and you feel like you want to say something, you want to add to the conversation, but you feel like everything's been said. Well, this is going to give you that solution where you can have a voice and you can show a different angle of things that haven't been considered. So that's the purpose of this report that comes out every week, and I find that really useful for any kind of key developments, and especially for having conversations and facilitating discussions and just being able to have the confidence to ask questions in ALCO and ask questions to your colleagues. I just find that this report is really useful because you've got your recommendations there as well. You've got your implications for banks as well. So because you've got all that laid out, it just gives you kind of an easy win to be able to ask those questions that are going to be thought-provoking. So another part of the Global Banking Hub members area that I really like is the how-to guides. So these how-to guides are really useful for if you're trying to do something that you haven't done before from scratch, or you just want to double check that things are being done the way that they should be done, essentially. So for example, you might have an LCR calculation and you just want to make sure that everything's being done the way that it should be, make sure that it's up to standard, you're not missing anything. Well, here you've got a step-by-step guide of how to calculate, how to do net cash outflows, how to compute your LCR, and any challenges that you might have to consider. So these are essentially like little cheat guides, these how-to guides. So these how-to guides are something that a lot of members have said they find really useful, because there's not really anywhere else that you can go to see how other banks are doing these kind of things. So you can look at the regulations, but they're often very long and complex, whereas when you've got everything laid out in a simple step-by-step guide, it is a lot easier just to follow that. And then you know you're aligning with industry norms as well. So a lot of members have said that they really appreciate having those how-to guides. So thank you very much for watching this video today, and I hope you find it useful, and I hope you've learned something about AI. So yeah, I'd be really keen to put something together, some type of AI masterclass. So if you could let me know what you would be interested in, what kind of level you're at, how much AI you currently use. Do you use once a day, once a week, once a month, for example? Never used it. And then I could host some masterclasses based on what kind of level of expertise you have, from very beginner to intermediate. And it's been a pleasure to speak to you today, and I hope you all have a lovely day wherever you are. And goodbye from me and the Global Banking Hub.